Alright, welcome everyone. My name is K. Michael Russell. I am a comic book colorist. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video today I'm going to be doing a variant cover for Yakuza Demon Killers #1 that IDW is publishing, and it's not out yet, just hasn't been announced yet. So I don't know when I'm going to get to show this to you guys, but today is July 17th, so we'll see when you actually get to see it. So it's a very simple cover, just this character standing in front of a place where they do mug shots, basically getting his mug shot taken with a tentacle wrapping around his neck. It's a really interesting book. I think you guys are going to like it. So I've done you the favor of flatting this already. It came in sort of late notice, so I had to flat this one myself, and it was pretty simple. So went ahead and flatted it, and I've changed all my base colors, and that's kind of where we're going to start. If you want to know what all these layers are, I've got flats at the bottom, I've got my colors, my base colors on top, which are really the same thing for now. I'm going to lock the flats so that I don't accidentally change those. There's a paper texture, very, very subtle over. If you get in really close, you can sort of see it. It's very subtle, the way that most textures should be subtle. And then I've got a bit of a metal, corrugated metal sort of thing, not corrugated, but textured metal anyway. I don't know what you call that. And then just lines on top. So let's start off with, I think I'm going to go ahead and change the color of these lines behind him slightly. I'm just going to select, the easiest thing to do would probably just to select everything and then remove him from this. So I'm just going to go around the, whoops, if I do it correctly. No, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to get the lines. I'm just going to select the lines. That might be easier. I'm just holding down Shift to select all of these while I'm using the lasso tool. And if you're just seeing my channel for the first time, if this is, I'm not really going to be explaining every single thing that I'm doing. And if you are a beginner and you would prefer to watch something for beginners, if you go to my channel page, there's a tutorial there about 45 minutes long for beginners that might suit you better. Or if you've been watching and you know what I'm doing, then welcome back. But basically all I'm doing is I'm selecting all of the lines that I want to change the colors of. He has a lot of hair. There's really no way around that. No shortcuts for this that I know of. And this will get more interesting. Just not right now. Alright, we're getting there. And I'll get the rest of the edges of these lines in a bit. I just want to get the just select the parts closest to him first, and that's where it's really the most technical. Then I can back out and loop around everything here. And I know a lot of tutorials or books on the subject that will tell you to do color holds last, and I used to do that too because sorry, I've got something bumping the microphone. I think I fixed it. There we go. What I found though is that a lot of times if I do the color holds first, then sometimes that'll do the job that I would want to do with rendering or something. Now, not with this necessarily, but it's one less thing I've got to pay attention to. This is pretty subtle, I mean, but I wanted to do something to separate him from everything else. And I also want to, I've looked at a couple of mugshots, and to sort of help create a better focal point also, I want to do sort of a kind of a spotlight effect, like the camera flash or something is really just, you know, here, and sort of shadow the corners. And let's see. And again, that'll also help you, you know, draw focus toward the middle of the panel. So I'm going to try a couple of different colors here, but so I'm going to make just a solid color adjustment layer on top and set the mode to multiply, and then go to the mask and paint out the mask. And you can always go back and adjust the color you're using there if you want. Sorry, I'm kind of experimenting a bit. I'll leave it there for now. And again, that's something else that I probably used to do later, but if it means less work, I'm painting some of this back in across the top. I'm just on the mask painting with white to pull this in. And right now that's set at 100% opacity. I can lower that a little bit, lock it down just a little bit. Alright, and actually right behind him, I'm going to get the background and make sure that's white. Just right there behind his head. Everything else is, you know, that's again subtle, but it's brightest around his head. I'm just going to throw in some rough highlights on this first. I might do some kind of texture or something over them, another texture or something. I'm not quite sure yet. I'll have to do a video on just brushes at some point. I get asked a lot about brushes. I work a lot with just regular soft round brushes. I'm just going to play around the color balance a little bit on this. But I do have if the brushes that I use are just soft and round, I've probably made them myself. There's no real secret to any of that, nothing special there. But if you see a brush that is very brushy, like this brush here, I just love, it's one of Kyle Webster's brushes. There's a link in the description below that will take you to his website. It's probably in his mega pack. Now I've renamed a lot of these to different things. I named this one Dave Stewart because it looks a little bit like this thing he does in the background sometimes. So anyway, it's just a cool brush. And this one I got from Keenan Lafferty, he's another YouTuber, fellow YouTuber. Channel is much more popular than mine though. Which is fine. All the painting and drawing channels have a much bigger audience. There are more people wanting to do that. Let's see. I'm going to try painting some of these lines a little bit just to see what it looks like. And just a little. Like I'm not wanting to go all the way, but I'm letting some of that black through, but I don't know that I'm crazy about that or not. You know what? I didn't lock the transparency on that. That's why that's coloring everywhere else. I was wondering why that looked the way it did. Hopefully I can undo all the way back. No, I can't. I have to fix that. Okay, I think I fixed it. We'll see if I did or not. Okay, it's close enough. Alright, my XFX layer I fill with black and set the mode to screen because the colors look better than if they're on white. I don't know why that is, but it does. Got this bright light flashing on this tentacle, so I'm just lighting this up a little bit, see what that looks like. Yeah, that's cool. Doing closed necks. I'm not really gonna go crazy here with a lot of rendering, just gonna sort of a little bit lighter at the top. This jacket's pretty black, so I'm not really I'm going to go to no super detailed rendering or anything like that. And we'll do his hair. And if you're wondering how I'm able to stay within the lines on some of this stuff without making a selection, it's because I've copied what I'm coloring to a layer on top and it's by itself. And the transparency is locked. I have an action that sets that up, so I make a selection, press a button, and it puts it on a layer by itself, and it's locked. So no matter what I do, I can't color on it. So that lets me make selections inside and outside without going over anything else. It's much faster to me than any other method, for that matter. On the areas facing toward the front, toward this, toward the light source, I'm going a little bit lighter toward the front because I'm picturing this, you know, bright flash going off, and so his hair is glowing toward that side of it. And again, you can play with the color balance, or like I'm going in the shadows and adding a little bit of just a little bit of blue, but not much. This guy's hair looks a mess. And actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to get above his eyes here, I mean above the inks, and just add a little bit of white there so it looks like it's on top of his pupils a little bit more. It's too much. This needs to be like really subtle. I'm just adding some shadows around the edges here. And it makes his eyes really pop a little bit more. All right, and to his skin. Just so I can easily change it a little bit better, a little bit easier. And I usually do this on covers because covers tend to have more tweaks and edits and whatnot. I'm gonna color. I decided I'm gonna do his skin paint with mask, basically M-A-S-K-S, mask. In Photoshop, I did a video on this not too long ago. It's called A Very Different Coloring Method. It explains this a lot better, but the premise is you set your base color with an adjustment color, an adjustment layer, solid color. I'm going to drag this below my lines, below the texture though. And when you fill the mask with black, of course it covers it, and then basically you paint with white on the mask to bring out the color you want. And so I'm going to do that on his skin. So I'm going to select his skin and then hide the selection. And then I can paint with, on the mask with white, and it comes out that color. So I'll explain why I'm doing this in just a second. But basically what it allows me to do is easily change the color that I'm using here if I want to shift this more toward yellow or red or whatever. And you basically duplicate that for every color that you want to use. Now I don't typically, for this book anyway especially, I don't paint with a ton of different colors on everything. Usually, believe it or not, every page is just a handful of colors, of lighting colors. It makes these pages go really fast that way. And if you want to, again, I want another layer of brighter highlights, then, I mean, of course, you can press a little bit harder and you get a little bit more brighter, but if I want a different color completely, which I do, I'm going to make another layer on top of that brighter, or bring in some yellow. Same thing here. Now I can go to that yellow, and you can see when I go to, whoops, go back to the mask, and now it's painting that yellow. You can also, I might do this instead, you can also change the mode of it to screen or hard light or some other, you know, color mode if you want, and paint that way, and then it acts like it would in screen mode. So, which in this case it's pretty similar, but and this is a very, the inks are very rough on this, so I can be a little more rough in the colors too. It tends to just kind of fit, it fits this line art pretty well. Lately I've been doing more and more with less and less when it comes to rendering. I've just found that, you know, do what serves the story best and keep it simple. Again, I don't use this method for every book that I'm doing, because at least at this point, for some things it's faster and for some it's not. But like I said, for covers especially, where, like I said, there tends to be a few more, you know, more changes or more tweaks and things like that. It just makes it easier to deal with. And I'll show you what I mean by that here in just a second. So I'm gonna just finish this up. Really, at this point, it's just a couple of brighter spots, and that's it. Now, why is this cool? Alright, so I can go to my base color, and I can adjust the base color, and you can see all of the rendering is still affecting everything below it without having to re-render anything, which I think is pretty cool. Like, I wanted that base color a little bit darker, then you can do that. If I wanted to go in and change one of these other colors, I can even do that. You know, you can see it shifting around toward green and blue and all these different things here. Don't really want to do that though. Just as an example. The other thing, now if I wanted to make any changes overall to all those things, I can still put an adjustment layer on top. Like if I want to grab the flat color again, and above all of the rendering, do like a color balance or you know, something else here on top of all of it. And you can see how that tweaks everything. just darkening the hair a little bit. Get all these little details and things. Whoops. Get all these little rings and things in his fingernails, and I didn't really do anything with any of that. So alright, so as far as the overall main rendering, that's pretty much it on that. Now I might go in and play around with a gradient map or something to just sort of tweak things, or and I did a video on gradient maps if you haven't seen that, but they're basically yeah, watch that video on gradient maps. But it's basically a way to some Instagram filters and things like that. They're based on gradient maps, but they affect the colors underneath. The darkest colors, for example, here it maps to this dark purple, and the lightest colors it maps to this orange. You can see this better in normal mode. So the darkest colors are purple, the lightest colors are orange. And if you set the mode of that to color or overlay, you can get some pretty neat effects sometimes. This is not really what I'm looking for at all, but I just thought I would. I like to play around here sometimes just to get ideas about these things. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up below it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And there's also a link to my coloring course down there below. It's 10 hours of coloring tutorials, and on all of it covers pretty much the entire process from start to finish, step by step. So if you want more information, check the link below. So thanks again for watching. See you guys in the next one.